Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my spoiler-free review of Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Before getting into the review itself, I have to tell you some things which are, this is my first physical book which I finished in February, and I should say that because of this, my reading month has been to a great start. Also, apart from this, I'm so sad that I did not read this in 2020 because this was such a fun book to read. Okay, rather than anything, it was so much entertaining and it kept me invested the whole time. Also, it is very fast paced. I'll recommend this to any beginner. If you're just 14 years and over in age, I'm sure that you can read this because it's very fun, very easy and simple to read, and it'll just keep you entertained the whole time. So without any further ado, let's just get into the various parts of the review right now. First, let's see something about the plot of Carry On. Now we have our main character who's the chosen one, that's Simon Snow, and the thing about Simon is that he's a person who has the ability to do magic in a world where magicians are forming a separate society, and the people who cannot do magic like us are part of a separate society, and it happens entirely in Britain. So the language is also very different from the normal fantasy books that I've read so far. The actual plot is that we have Simon Snow, who's the chosen one, and he has to defeat this antagonist called the insidious Humdrum. Okay, it's just so funny, guys. Okay, each and everything that's referred to in this book, even the spells that they utter, everything is so much funny. I'm sure that you will smile at a lot of times, and I even laughed out loud. Okay, I was just reading it and started laughing. My brother saw me like I was mad or something. Okay, it was that much funny and hilarious at many instances, and there's this is the main plot. Okay, it's just a quest between a chosen one and an antagonist who is the insidious Humdrum, and how the chosen one ends up defeating this guy. Okay, of course it's going to be in a way that the good guy beats the bad guy, but the things that happen in between, they are so much awesome. Also, there's this hate to love that is put into this. I should say that if you read Harry Potter, or if you watched Harry Potter just like that, I can say that this is a hate to love kind of story between Harry and Draco, written as a fan fiction in an entire book. Okay, it's just so much fun, and I should say the amount of work that she has put into these two main characters, okay, Simon and Baz, it's so good. Okay, the hate to love trope, it has worked very well in this one, and how much time it would take for such a relationship to develop. Okay, usually I don't like such kind of relationships, but in this one it was so much fun to read, and it was also so natural when I read it, because she doesn't keep on stressing it each and every time. Most of the times we get to know how much these two characters hate each other, but towards the end, when they end up together, it just makes a lot of sense, and it's also not something which you don't like towards the end, and it was very fun in that way. Moving on to the characters, we have 5 main characters in this book. The first 2 are the main characters, that is the pair, Simon Snow and Baz, but apart from these 2, we also have Simon's friend, who is Penelope, and one of their acquaintances, who's Agatha. These 4 are studying in the same year in this magical school called Watford, and apart from these 4 characters, we have another character who's the mage. Okay, he's the headmaster of this high school, and he has a lot of power in this magical world of the mages, as they call in this book. The mage, if you ask me, is pretty much similar to Dumbledore, but we don't get that much appearances of the mage. We get to know a lot of things about him, but not a lot of scenes with the mage in which he is expressed as such. But the presence of that character is just made so solid throughout the book. Also, apart from all these 5 main characters, the antagonist, that is the Humdrum, that character is also a very peculiar thing to read about, because we don't get to know a lot of things about it, and that's the thing which, if you ask me, makes the book even more interesting. Because if we get to know everything about the antagonist and how to defeat that person, it's not going to be that much fun, right? They just develop their knowledge of this antagonist as the story passes by, and until they reach like the last chunk of the story, they cannot even connect things together. It's that much well written. Also, there's one other side character who's very important. I'm not going to name that character in the review because it's spoiler free. You'll have to just read and think. But when that character was introduced itself, I knew that there is some significance for this character. Otherwise, there's no need to just go and show this particular character here. That character is somewhat like Hagrid. Okay, that's all I can say. Yeah, this is all about the characters, and I should say none of the characters was so deeply explained or anything, but they were just introduced to us in a way that it is enough to know them and not know them so well that we start expecting a lot of things to happen. Just enough information was given so that the characters don't feel so shallow, as well as they are not that much fleshed out. Moving on to the writing of this book, just as I said before, it's very much perfect and suitable for beginners, mainly because of the language that Rainbow Rowell has used throughout the book. Okay, it's very straightforward, and there are not many words which we need to look up the meanings for, because it's written in such a simple easy way. Okay, it might look like a huge book and it might feel intimidating, but trust me, okay, each and every chapter in this one is so small. I didn't even read one chapter which is over 10 or 15 pages in length. It is that easy to read, and also the perspective keeps on changing. Okay, we don't get the story from just a single point of view. Obviously, you have a lot of chapters which focus on the point of view of Simon, but we get it from the other characters' points of view also. I said these 5 main characters, right? We get at least one chapter from each of the characters' points of view, but I should say that each and every point of view was distinct from each other. We can easily distinguish between the voices of the characters, and it doesn't become confusing at all. Also, it might sometimes feel confusing about the 2 female characters who are sides, like Agatha and Penelope, but their voices are made so clear that you can understand who's talking now and who's just bringing up the plans. We do get character names as the chapter headings, yet sometimes some authors don't work so well that the characters might sound similar, but in this one it was not at all like that. Though the gender of the characters was the same and they are of the same age, the difference in their stuff is just shown so clearly in their voice and how they handle stuff and how they think stuff through. It was so much fun in that way, and I'm sure that if you're a beginner, this is a super simple book to read, and just go forward and read it. Don't have second thoughts at all. Moving on to the world building. Okay, one of the main reasons why I picked this book up in February, apart from the reason that it is so famous and I've not at all heard any bad things about it, is that it's an urban fantasy. Okay, I've been trying to read a lot more of urban fantasy after I finished reading the Mortal Instruments, because it has these elements of fantasy which I like, but it is also very much closer to the real world, such that it's not intimidating or so overwhelming to read like high fantasy is. But I should say that this did not feel that much like a fantasy at all. Of course, we have the presence of magic throughout and how it affects certain things in this world, and also the richness of the world because of the magic, and some of the limitations within this world because of the magic that it has. All of those are present throughout the story, and their presence is made felt by the author through her writing in various aspects, if you ask me. But there was not that much of world building. Okay, we also have different races of characters like goblins and pixies and many other things like that, but we don't get a lot of depth to it. Okay, since it's just the first book, and it's more focused on the characters and the relationships between them. The magic and the world was not that much of a focus. Okay, the politics of the world is explained a little bit here and there throughout the story, but if you ask me, the world is not that much laid out for you. If you're a person like me who likes reading fantasy books for the world and getting to see the world and how it acts and how it behaves and what are the things that are going on in this particular world, this is not such a great book in that sense, because it felt more like a contemporary with elements of magic rather than a magic that's put into a contemporary world for me. And it was fun in that way. Okay, it is simple because of that fact, mainly because it doesn't have that much of info dumps in order to build the world and present a beautiful looking world for you, so that you're invested in it and you feel so atmospheric while reading the book. It's not such kind of a book, but I'm sure that it is an urban fantasy because of certain things that happen within it and certain types of categories that we get between the normal human beings and those who can do magic, as we have seen in this one. We also have vampires and mere wolves. Okay, not werewolves, we have mere wolves, that is wolves that live inside water. We have many different races of things that occur in this one. Those are the small hints of world building here and there, but there was not that much fleshing out of the world which I usually like in fantasy books. At last, talking about the pacing of this book. Okay, usually what happens is when you're trying to build a world that is parallel to a real world, while explaining the different aspects of both the worlds, the pacing drops at many instances. But I should say in this one it was not at all like that. Okay, one of the main advantages for me or for beginners or anyone who reads this book is in terms of pacing, is that it has very short chapters and you can just read the chapters between any breaks. Okay, not even a single chapter will take you more than 10 minutes to read. It's that easy in in a perfect way, if you ask me. Usually I like books with small chapters rather than books with larger chapters, because I don't get that much of time throughout the day, and when I get like small chunks and bits of time, I try to sit down and read, and it's better if the book has shorter chapters. I should say that this is the quickest book that I've read so far this year, and it didn't take me over 3 sittings to finish this big book. Okay, I thought that it will take a lot of time since it's a fantasy, but once I started reading it, after the first sitting itself, it was very much evident that I'm going to finish this in quite a quick pace. And one of the main advantages or reasons behind me finishing it so quick was the short chapters that it has. Also, the pace doesn't drop at any instant. We have to discover and unravel a lot of things as we go on and move on with the story, but at no instant does the pace drop in order to explain us things. Okay, the pace that we get set with in the beginning of the story is maintained throughout until the climax. Okay, we have an epilogue also in this book. I don't understand, okay, because it has a sequel also right now. Initially the book was released as a standalone, but I think in 2019 or something it got a sequel, which is Wayward Son, this one. And we are also getting the finale for the trilogy this year. I think it's called Anyway the Wind Blows or something like that. I'm very much interested to read the sequels of this one, because I had so much fun reading this. And also I do think that those two books are set so much into the future. This happened sometime in the 2010s, if I'm not wrong, and all those depictions were really well done, and the difference was shown which all added up to a really good pacing of the book. So my overall rating of the book obviously is 5 stars. Okay, I just had a great time reading this one, and it was so much fun. I'm just sad that I did not read this in 2020, because if I had read this last year, 2020 would have been even more easy. Okay, it was so horrible. It was horrible for everyone, but I do think that if I had read this last year, it would have boosted my mood in many ways, and I would have ended up reading a lot more books without the slumps that I had in between. Okay, because it was so much fun, and we cannot go back in time and read. Anyone can't do it, but I'm sure that if you read this now, you'll have a great time. And if you have second thoughts reading this book, just throw them out the window and go forward and read it. I'm just sad that I put this off for so long and read it just now. It was so much fun and so interesting throughout the time, and it kept me entertained and invested all the time. So I just had a lot of fun, and I rated it 5 stars. Yeah, that's it for today. If you did enjoy watching today's video and found it helpful in some way or the other, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel, because I publish new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.